G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode. So this week we're going to get into doing the walk-in wardrobe area and the aft head. So it's just like the aft cabin, we're going to do all the preparation, ready for getting it all refit. Can't work with all the messiness and crap and you can't see what you're doing. So basically, all up here we've got just crap everywhere. We've got bolts that have been cut off, screws that went through here. Got to get rid of all them, clean up all the floor. We've got the bird's nest down here, a couple of little eggs, and just crap piled up. Just like we did with the aft cabin, we've got all these little bits and pieces that we've got to grind off, where they used lugs to pull the panels into shape. The foam that's going to insulate this is not going to sit on there. It'll create a little air bubble which will allow corrosion and moisture to sit on the surface. We'll check all the welds, make sure they're okay. If we've got enough time, we might even square up these door frames. And on the other side, we've got to lower this door frame. So we might get a bit of work in. I don't know how much time I've got, but I'm going to do both aft head and the walk-in wardrobe. They're only small areas. Got to cut the limbo holes, so there's a bit of work. So I'm going to start cleaning up. So I just turned a hose on in here and I'm just filling up this bilge here. So what I thought I need to know is if this little part of the bilge, because we've got this welded in bulkhead there, if that part of the bilge is actually linked to the other big bilge. We've got a massive bilge that's going to be able to collect heaps of water. I need to know if those two are the same, if all the water evens out, because that'll decide whether or not these drains for the cockpit are going to empty into this small bilge, or if they go into the big one. And the same as the shower, the head there, if it's going to drain into here. So I need to know where all the water's going. So I need to poke my head under there to see if they're sort of evening out between the two. You can see there's water trickling in. That tells me they are. Which is handy. Got all of our PPE on, the helmet, the face shield, the leather apron, we've got the gloves. So we're not getting burnt today. So because of how steep this aft cabin is and these walkways, I'm not going to be putting holes up the top to go into the bilge. Now that we know that this bilge is linked with the other one, it's easier just to put one hole here and it goes down. So because this is a low side, that is, the other side's very high, we're just going to put the one hole in each one of these corners. It's not going to be easy because it's 15mm plate. This is only a 10 amp plasma cutter. It did say on the box that it can do it, but we'll see. Well, I think the first attempt was successful. Only took 1 minute, but we got about a 10mm hole there. It will need to be cleaned up with a die grinder, but it worked pretty well. There's a bit of slag built up around the hole. You'd expect that because when it starts blowing through, the metal's got nowhere to go but just melts down onto the hole. So that slag has to be cleaned up, but the hole will look good once it's all die grind up. So pretty happy with that. It took me about 5-10 minutes for each other hole. Now it's only taken 1 minute. Alright, it didn't take me long, but I got them all done. Hole in every one. They're not pretty right now, but I might go turn the hose on and see how they drain. So my verdict is I think it could drain a little bit better. I put it all the water in as you saw, and you know, it did alright, but I think it could be better. So I might open up the holes a little bit more. I don't really want a plasma cut when it's wet. I know welding when it's wet is not a great idea. So we might just open up these holes a little bit more, and then we'll die grind them up. Once I die grind them, they may very well be alright, but I might as well do it now. Just in case when I die grind them it's no good and I have to do it again anyway. So once this dries, I'll plasma cut it again, just to give it a little bit more flow. But while it's drying, I'm going to get onto the aft head. So I'm going to be starting in the aft head, and it's a bit of a mess. So rubbish, a piece of wood, got some corrosion on the wall there. We've got all those same problems we had in the wardrobe area. We've got all these screw holes, which I'll probably patch up, which were used to hold the timber on for the wall linings on the other side. We won't be doing it that way, because this is going to be a shower. Obviously you're going to make this as watertight as I can. I've got a little plate down in here and I've seen it a few times. I just never could figure out what it's used for. I think I got it sussed. I think I know what the guy was thinking. So we've got this plate down here, and these two bars here either side are for a generator. Couldn't work out why this is here, but it's just clicked to me. We've got all these raised bits of weld that I've got to grind off, make it flush. I think this is basically been put in because he's installed these bars, and the bars are perfectly straight when he gets them, but the hull has got a bit of a curve to it. So he's tack welded on this threaded bar and had this jig made up to clamp those 15mm bars down to the substrate and then weld it. Just so happens that he's left this one, must have been his last piece, he's left it there and hadn't bothered taking it off. It's slightly interesting because from what I've been told about this boat, is this boat had all been kitted out and had all the wall linings, insulation in, the floorboards and everything, and a dude was living on here for a bit, even though that the boat had never actually seen the water. So it's interesting that he's still got jigs left sort of welded in there from the build of the boat 20 years ago, and this boat had been fully kitted out, and it's just stayed there the whole time. So it looks like now that I've figured out what that is used for, I will cut that off because it shouldn't be there, and we don't want things that shouldn't be there. I like a nice clean boat when it's all done. So that has to come out, but it was bothering me because I couldn't figure out what it's about. Now that it's clicked and I know what it is, and I can get rid of it, I'm a bit happier. Makes for a cleaner boat. I've cleaned up the aft cabin. I've got this plate here we've got to take out. I can already see that's completely rusted, and I'm not going to get a shifter on that to undo it all the way. So I'm going to have to get a cutting disc in to cut that out, because on this side I'm not going to have enough room to get the plasma head underneath that. So I'll cut that off so I can start plasmaing all the holes. Sorry about the noise here today, we've got a bit of wind coming through. I've plasma cut the aft head now. I've opened up the little holes in the wardrobe here. So I've just got my hose ready and gonna see how we go with the drainage. So they're all draining pretty nice. Might clean them up with a die grinder still, but I think they're draining pretty good. Let's do the other side. Well, this ended up basically the same as what the other side did. I'm not too happy with how perfectly it's draining. It is draining, and it's draining okay, but I want the holes just to open up a little bit more because they're just not draining as well as I'd like. This one here is not too bad, but then these two here, they're just draining a little bit slow, so I want to open those two up a bit more, and we can make it a little bit better. So I don't want to do it again while it's all as wet as it is, so I'm going to let it dry for a bit. So much happier with that. So it's getting dark now, so I had to show you with the torch, but I'm much happier with how they drain. They take about 5 to 10 seconds to drain each limber hole. They just go down one after another. So much happier with that. Just got to die grind them up a little bit just to make the paint go in there a bit easier. But the last thing I need to do is the doors, but the sun's going down, running out of time today. So yeah, I'll have to come back in a couple of days to do the rest of this room. So I'm back at day 3 of the boat now, and we've got to do these combings, a little bit more grinding just to do around here and up the top. You can see got a little bit to grind up the top, and I might make a start cutting out this door if I've got time. But yeah, not a lot of work today, but the weather is crap, so I may not get a lot of work done. So let's get back to it. So I just extended the lines down for the door here, so that this line just continues down. This is what's been put in for the floor in this wardrobe area. It's got a fair bit of room here. However, that seems a lot higher than this door frame. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research, and like I could have just run the plasma cutter down here and just cut this out. But I want to make sure that this is going to be the floor height, otherwise I'm going to have to keep extending it down to the actual floor height. So I'm going to have to get some spirit levels and some lasers and just start measuring up. So it looks like I'm not going to cut that out today, but what I will end up doing is just making sure that this is the right floor level. I don't want to start making the door and then have to redo it anyway. I'll just be doubling up my work. So I'm going to get the levels out, make sure that the boat is still sort of on a good level. I'm going to bring those spirit levels down here and make sure that this floor is in the right spot. Right, I'm outside here in the bad weather, and what I did with those pneumatic bottle jacks is I leveled the boat like it was dipping into the ground a bit like that. So we brought the boat up level. So we just look over the top here at this spirit level. This is the cockpit, and we're pretty close to being spot on level. Now, on every boat you need to have a datum that you're working from, and this cockpit is the datum for this boat. So everything else that moving forward in this boat should be level to this datum point. It has dropped a little bit going sideways, so it's leaning a little bit one way. So I've got to jack up one side a little bit, but that's all right. We can adjust that with ACO props. But going forward and aft, we're basically spot on forward and aft. So I know the boat's still level going that way, so I'll go down into the walkway there, the walk-in wardrobe, and we'll check which level the floorboard should be at. Well, I'm surprised. It looks sometimes deceiving. In this case, definitely was. I thought that was way out. I thought we were going to have to lower that to another 50 mil. But I'll put everything together, and here's our little bubble. It's pretty close, and that's just by G-clamping that underneath. I'm sure if that was level, instead of having that 3 mil lip there, that would be even slightly better. But we're just sort of level on that side, and G-clamped here, and that's really spot on, really. I thought for sure I was cutting that out, and it was going to be a little bit more of a job, but that's a good thing we checked. Got to double check everything, otherwise you're going to just be stuffing yourself up later. So double check that, it's actually good. So we're going to go ahead with cutting that door out. Well, I managed to cut this step out, and we've got a nice big open doorway now. It's going to be one flat level from in the wardrobe and out to the main saloon area. There is a 20 mil difference between this plate and this plate, but I have to wait until I've worked out the level of this floor, see if it's all right. It may be that this floor has to come up to meet this one. That might be the easiest option. So we still haven't cut out these archways. This one is a bit big, so this one may actually have a filler piece come in and level that out. These sides actually have to have the corners cut out, square the top of the doors out. But that's all I got time for this week. The storms are rolling in. I'm gonna have to pack up before the rains hit. And yeah, I think we're done with these rooms. So got all the grinding done, all the welds are cleaned up, all the limber holes are done, the doorway's cut out. So we've got a bit achieved this week. That's 3 little areas all done. So depending on whether or not I get the steel for next week, I'll either go on with fixing up that companionway and hard dodger. If I can't get the steel, I'll start tackling some more rooms inside, getting all ready so I can start blasting and painting. So that's all we got time for this week. Hopefully everyone enjoyed. Leave a comment and we'll get back to everyone, and see you next week. Thanks guys.